Okay, I think we are streaming. I think we're good to go. We are live on the InfernoCast Season 2 on InfernoFox Gaming. And I am, of course, Fox from InfernoFox Gaming. What is this, guys? Our third episode of Season 2? Am I remembering that right? Second episode? Third episode?
I thought it was the second.
Okay.
That's only the second.
That's cool. So we're going to just keep this light, keep it fun. We're doing things a little bit different than how we normally have done it before. Because we're live streaming, we're here, and we're just going to have some fun, talk about games that we're playing, as well as the Switch to Physical situation, because I don't know how much y'all have been connected to it, but it has been quite a bit of discourse just in general with that. But let's just kick things off. First and foremost, to make sure to check out Simbu Darkfang on his Sunday evening streaming at 7 p.m. Central, WWE 2K24, on the Scurryface channel that's on Twitch. Simbu, did I get that right? Did I miss anything? Any fun events coming up?
No, just plugging away. Stream is now on Friday nights, not Sundays.
Ooh.
For anybody, longtime listeners or watchers of the cast, I've been moved to Friday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Excellent. Hey, that's actually a better. That might even be a better slot, because you get a lot of people chilling out, starting their weekend strong with some gaming, and why not, while gaming, listen to some high octane, high energy announcing action with Simbu at the helm. It's a lot of fun. Definitely make sure to check that out, especially if you're a fan of WWE 2K. So definitely want to check that. But Simbu, well, I got you. What games are you playing?
What am I playing?
What you playing?
Well, currently, trying to grind the last 5 levels on the Fortnite Star Wars season. So that's about it. I just finished Indiana Jones and the Great Circle recently. Um, and honestly, I've seen some of the naysaying. I've seen some of the whining and crying about it doesn't feel like an Indiana Jones, you know, kind of thing. And to a lot of that, my response is 2 hour movie, 10, 12 hour game.
Excellent.
Um,
Dude, that is like very, very well put. Sorry.
oh no, that's perfectly okay. Honestly, though, a lot of people whining about the stealth aspect of it, but let's be honest. It takes place after the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark and before Last Crusade. So somewhere in that Temple of Doom kind of area between them. So, well, anybody who's seen Indiana Jones knows, the Nazis know who he is. So, I mean, it's like America's Most Wanted. He's like Billy the Kid for, Nazi Germany at the time. And with them being in league with Italy and the fascists of Mussolini, of course the fascists are going to know who he is too. I mean, it just makes sense. But they do have a couple. They do have a really cool thing. If you in each area or universe or globe, whatever you want to call it, if you find the uniform for that area, you kind of get to hide in plain sight, much like Indy's done in the movies before. Again, like at Fox, I told you, it mitigates a lot of that tedious stealthness to it by picking that up.
That's cool. Yeah, that's funny. I think well, I don't think. I know he's done that in Raiders and Last Crusade, and I guess you could say Temple of Doom, although that was more so him literally joining the bad guys through the blood poisoning. But definitely, well, I'm going to be picking that up digitally when that goes on sale. One that you guys would really recommend for all y'all if you get a chance. Jamie Owls, though, what are you currently playing?
So, nothing has changed from our last video together before our trip to Hawaii. I'm pretty much still playing the same stuff almost. I was kind of taking a little break, but currently what I've been playing is I'm still on Tomb Raider 4, The Last Revelation. I've been just picking and dabbing here and there when I'm in the mood to play either PlayStation games or my Switch. On my Switch, I'm getting back into the Hello Kitty Island adventure, which I'm having a lot of fun. I think it's very cute, similar to Animal Crossing, but I gotta say that I think I like this one better than Animal Crossing. And I'm also playing Little Kitty in Big City. I'm enjoying that, and and a little bit here and there. Dreamlight Valley, that's never ending, and then also too, when the mood strikes, The Sims. So I really need to like finish my games before I move on to anything else because my backlog is growing. But lately, honestly, I've been more in a reading kick than playing games. Usually, when I'm done with work, I just like to sit back and read a book for like an hour or two. So I think when the mood strikes again where I want to play more games, I'm sure they'll come back again where I'll take a little break from reading. So I don't know. It just all depends on how I feel and the time I have.
So you said a charged statement that I'm wondering if Storm will have a response. Do you really think that that Hello Kitty is better than Animal Crossing? And Storm, what is your thoughts after Jamie Owl's response?
Sorry, are you waiting for me to answer?
Yeah, Jamie Owls. So you really think that Hello Kitty is better than Animal Crossing?
So far, yeah, because maybe I'm saying that because it's something a little new than Animal Crossing, but I feel like Hello Kitty has cute, like, puzzles to do, and I like games that has little puzzles to where you have to figure out things, but I mean, I still like Animal Crossing. There's still a special place in my heart for it, but with Hello Kitty and it's new and little new characters, I think, yeah, it's better. Sorry, Robin.
That's okay. You know, I've not played any of the Hello Kitty Island Adventure, and I'm sure there are things that it improves upon that Animal Crossing didn't do. You
Hmm.
know, outside of having actual Hello Kitty characters in instead of, Animal Crossing characters dressed as Hello Kitty when they did that Hello Kitty crossover thing with the amiibos. So,
Yeah.
it does look cute. Maybe eventually I will get that, but I've taken a break from those games. I've not touched Animal Crossing in 6 months now, so
Mm.
I just hit the wall of needing a break from it after playing it every day consistently for how many since it's been out. So I'm sure I'll believe you that it's better because there were things that could be improved upon, and it seems that maybe Hello Kitty did that. And if there's little in-game games to play outside of just decorating your island and building things and whatnot,
Hmm.
that seems a lot better too. So who knows? You could be onto something. So I don't mind Jamie L saying that it's better to each their own, but I will believe that there's probably some improvement, and maybe the new Animal Crossing that eventually comes out will take people's suggestions and go
Mhm.
from there. And I do wonder, though, in this day and age, if we, with Nintendo's privacy thing and them knowing about treasure islands and all of that kind of stuff with the modding, if they'll do away with the visiting each other that Animal Crossing
Mhm.
does, which I kind of hope they do. And it'll just make it a one, like, in-game thing. I hope it is different than the New Horizons eventually.
Yeah, my thought is with everything that they're doing to encourage people to play together, especially the in-game chat bojazz that they've been heavily pushing, like with their camera for the Switch 2 and all that sort of stuff. They, if anything, it'll be more visiting than how the previous one was, and it'll translate a lot better, and it should be easier and more streamlined. Given that that property or that game now is over 5 years old, it can't help but be a better experience or a better product. At least that'd be my thought, and I wouldn't be surprised if we hear murmurings of the next one as early as next year. That'd be my guess.
If they do a new one and have the visiting, hopefully they get rid of a lot of the interruptions that currently happen. If you go to someone's island and it announces it to everyone and you can't stop, you got to stop what you're doing and you can't move and you've got to wait for the dialogue and it takes however long for people to fly in based on their internet connection and blah blah blah. Hopefully more of that is figured out then. I'm sure they will, but who knows? Just hope it's a different kind of concept and not locked in on the island thing. We'll see. See
Yes.
where it goes.
Yeah, definitely. And while I gotcha, Storm, what are you currently playing besides Fork Knife, of course?
Besides Fork Knife, I've been playing some of The Sims 4. Got back into that. I'm kind of like Jamie Owls, where a bug will bite me and I'll play it consecutively for a couple of days and then it fades away. But it's nice that I don't have to worry about it. That you can just jump back and forth in. I did play the Digimon Cyber Sleuth. I only got 3 hours into it and then just gave up because the battles kept getting repetitive and yeah, I was just getting tired of it. But right now I'm going through RoboCop.
Oh, cool.
Um, and doing a
Nice.
little bit more reading. So reading has kind of taken, you know, honestly taken me away from gaming as much, but I will hit a wall with that too, where you read, and then okay, I'm done. So no, but right now, RoboCop is still the castle full of cats, where it's kind of like a Where's Waldo, but it's cats in this castle. So that is really about it. Um, Talking about the Harry Potter, the Hogwarts Legacy earlier made me want to go back and maybe replay or do some things with Hogwarts Legacy. And I also have to finish a couple of games and have to play God of War's Valhalla. Valhalla. Thank you. So that's really about it. Not a whole lot going on gaming wise. Outside of if you count the stupid Monopoly Go on my phone. Them stupid mobile games. Yeah.
That's how they get you. That's why they made what
Yes.
$2 billion last year or something crazy like that.
Yep, I can see why money is spent on it. I mean, I've spent a couple of dollars on it, but refuse to now because the way that the game is just it is made and designed in a way to get you to spend money, and I refuse to give any more money to the machine. So I do what I
Good,
can for the free stuff.
good on you. That's definitely the way to go because they survive and thrive on the whales, and whales, of course, being those that just buy as much as they can. Ugh.
Yep.
Hardicus, what are you
Hi.
currently playing?
Well, not a lot because I had basically pneumonia for the last 2 months, so I my backlog gets bigger and bigger. But I'm playing World of Warcraft like normal. I did finish up my game of Baldur's Gate 3 with my friend John. And we have started playing another round of Divinity Original Sin 2, which is made by the same folks that Baldur's Gate 3. So if you enjoyed Baldur's Gate 3, check out Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. They are very similar titles. So we are currently playing that. I started playing Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, I think it was yesterday or the day before. And I've got about, I don't even know how many hours into it already, but that's pretty fun. It's another, if you're unfamiliar with Pathfinder, it's a very D&D-esque type of pen and paper game, but they also have a couple of digital games out there. Other than that, been playing a lot of Project Zomboid lately because I'm an addict, and I haven't touched my console in probably 3 months, I think.
Oh dang, we gotta fix that. I gotta put a stop though. What other games do I need to send you there, Hardicus?
Dude, my backlog is crazy right now. I'm literally looking at the last 2 games you sent me that have been sitting on my desk here, completely untouched because I just haven't gotten to them yet.
Oh man, you got to put those computer games aside. You don't have time to waste on garbage games like Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, come on, it's only a masterpiece.
Right.
Dude, I got
done with Original Sin 2. We're gonna play an evil version of Baldur's Gate 3. So
you're accepting the worm in your head. You're doing the RFK Jr. route. Interesting.
That's a pretty good idea. I should talk like that and annoy the shit out of John while we're playing that.
You should, because you can then say you are taking the evil within your brain.
Right?
I could do that a lot more irritatingly, but for our audiences at home and whatnot, yeah, I don't want to break their poor
trigger
eardrums.
anyone either.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I gotta, at some point, I'll play Baldur's Gate 3. It's gonna be one of those things where I might end up having a bunch of time, and that's the perfect game for it. I've got the deluxe edition on the PS5, so hey,
Nice.
It's ready, waiting for me. But for me, I just finished playing Trails into Reverie, the 10th of the Trails games. And that was only about 43 hours, so it was a shorter one for the Trails series. Wow. And I just started, excuse me, Trails into Daybreak, which is the 11th one. Takes place in a different part of the country, kind of not a soft reset, but like a new location, revamped battle system, what have you. I've been really enjoying that. It's kind of been one of those breath of fresh air. And I was worried about the Switch handling it because Reverie and the Cold Steel 4, the 2 games before that, it was kind of chugging. Loading took a while, but for some stupid reason, Daybreak runs much better on the Switch than the previous game before it. So I don't get it, but I'm loving that. Also doing Clair Obscur Expedition 33 on the PS5. Hitting a few walls with that. It's imagine Hardicus, you'll appreciate this. Imagine a turn-based RPG, all the turn-based goodness sort of merged in with Mario and Luigi type gameplay, except Dark Souls difficulty.
Yeah, my friend John's playing that right now. And I've seen a couple videos online about it. I heard you really need to practice with like the dodge and counter mechanic. It's on my list to play because I also have heard it is an excellent game, but I really don't care for those kind of manual dodge mechanic games. But if it's worth it, I'll try it.
Yeah,
it's on Game Pass.
Yes,
so I'll end up playing it. Just like Indiana Jones is on Game Pass too. So if you just want to play it on your PC instead of waiting to buy it.
Yeah, definitely recommend you trying that. I maybe even try normal for a little bit, but move to story mode. Story, obviously, the easier one. Then I keep hearing from people that say, "Oh, story mode apparently is the exact same as normal, except parrying is just a little bit easier." And it's like, oh well, that's kind of crappy, but
Just play Split Fiction.
Yeah, we're gonna
Pretty good.
probably gonna pick that up. Gonna be a Christmas game. That's something that Jamie Owls and I will do together. We played it at the Switch 2 experience, and it was excellent there, right, Jamie Owls?
Yeah, I liked it. I look forward to playing it. So it kind of sucked when it stopped at that one part where they got. I forgot what level it was, but I'm like, oh, I want to see what happened. So, but yeah, no, I thought it was really awesome.
A physical.
Nah, we're gonna wait. We'll wait.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna
Thank you, though.
we're gonna get our own physical copy of it because we definitely want to own it. And I shoot my backlog on stuff too and is gonna be pretty big. And then with the Switch 2 coming out, what, 2.5 weeks now? My hands will be full of Mario Kart and probably Cyberpunk. So be cool to play it there. And that's actually a good segue to our sort of next topic, main topic, chill topic, what have you. Sort of the current state of physical media here as of May 2025. Sort of some background, and why I'm bringing this up is because Doom: The Dark Ages was just released, the past week or two or so ago, and it was the physical copy of it for the PS5. 80 megabytes. That's all that's on there. So when you plug it in, you have to download all 120 gigs of it. Was that 80 gigs or something? And Simbu was mentioning Indiana Jones and the physical copy of that, 20 gigabytes for that. And with that of course is not the full game. I think that one is like 60 gigabytes. And obviously the big games, Bethesda type games, Microsoft games, it's really Microsoft's MO to not really go physical, especially they're a software company, so no surprise there. But other companies, of course, are kind of part and parcel to this. As Simbu's holding up, he's holding up My Little Pony for the PS5. I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, if that's your jam, then you got to go for that. My Little Pony, though, is that a multiplayer game? Is that one player? What are we looking at, Simbu?
That is a PUBG style battle royale where, much like the end of Cabin in the Woods, the unicorns kill everybody.
Oh, nice.
No, we're all talking about Indiana Jones. We're talking about Doom: The Dark Ages. Let's not forget. Oh, it fell. Let's not forget Jedi Survivor with the, if you can see it, internet required. Because this disc right here is nothing more than a license checker.
And Call of Duty's been pulling this sort of bojazz, I think, since 2015. And Sony did this with Gran Turismo 7 on the PS5. If you plug the disc in and you don't have internet, you can do music rally mode, and that's it. Even the single-player stuff requires racing, or requires an internet connection. So all of this stuff, I mean, it's fine and dandy for countries like Japan where they've got consistent internet and everything like that, but seeing as we are in one of the biggest populated countries, we're like the closest first world, third world country here, and we're like anybody who's over 40, we're going down that hill and we're getting worse and worse. And I mention that because our infrastructure here in the United States is garbage, and it's only going to get worse, at least the next 3 years and 9 months. That said, we can't rely on our internet being as consistent as something like Japan, and especially in the rural areas. So the idea that something like this, all of this requiring internet connections, is just sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to segue that into since I'm the Nintendo YouTuber and I'm the Nintendo fanboy. While Nintendo happens to be one of my favorite systems and whatnot. I'm also the most critical of them. And the Switch 2 itself and what they're doing for physical, the only positives that I can see that with them, with the physical thing on Switch 2 is that it can play Switch 1 cartridges. Great. Cool. I'm all up for having a valid Switch 1 collection, at least for the next 4 to 8 years, however long they want to continue their system. But there's only 3 options, and this has been confirmed by an Arc Systems leak. Arc Systems being a developer, where there's only one type of physical cartridge that has data, and it's 64 gigabytes. Comparing that with the Switch 1, where the Switch 1 had cartridges that were 1 gigabyte, 2, 4, 8, 16, and 32, and then the only other cartridge is the key card. And the key card, you plug it into your system. It has the license on the card. The game downloads onto your system. And then as soon as you take that card out, you can't play that game again until you put that specific card in. You can resell that card. So, hey, the reseller market gets to live on for the physical resale market gets to live on for another 4 years, again, 4 to 8 years, whatever this system's going to last. But not really, because what happens if Nintendo system goes down? Look at the Wii U, the system previous, 3DS system previous. That's down. It doesn't happen. It's completely gone now. So, and then obviously the third option, code in the box. I mean, isn't that a Justin Timberlake SNL skit, code in the box? You got to be careful because there's a code in the box, and it's just frustrating because, like, I obviously
What's in the box?
Exactly. You see my collection behind me. I am a physical collector, and yes, I do have digital, but I want to have physical games for the games that I really love. So the open questions that I'll have, and we'll kind of ponder, talk about here as we kind of continue on, is this the end of physical gaming? And I'm also going to ask you guys, how much do you guys care, honestly? And then, do you collect physical games? Before we kick that up, I just want to say hey and howdy to Mad Kaiser, as well as Coral T for joining our live chat. So, what's up, guys? Always glad to see you guys jumping on, joining, and whatnot. Jamie Owls, I'm putting you on the spot. Do you collect physical games?
I do. I don't have as nearly as much as you do, but I still like the idea of buying a physical copy of a game series that I really love, or a game that looks really cool to me that, I want. If I'm able to play the demo, if it's available, then yeah, like, I can see myself wanting to own, like, the actual physical copy. Whereas other games, like, I could just, download it. It's not a big deal. But yeah, I do like the idea of collecting and just having my own physical copies of the games I really enjoy. Like, for example, when I saw that Spyro was coming back out back in 2018, like, hell yeah, for sure, I want the physical copy. Like, I love Spyro. I wanted to play those games again, and I'm really hoping that they'll actually make more news or announcements of a Spyro 4, because I think that was like 3 years ago when they made that announcement. I forgot the name of the
Toys for Bob.
Yes, thank you. Announced it. So I'm hoping to hear something from them again, because of course I want to get that physical copy. Also, too, hopefully at some point that they'll make the Legend of Spyro, the other 3 games that were made for, like, the PlayStation 2. Also, the limited run games, when they are bringing back, like, classic games again, like Bubsy, Gex, and the Gator game. I'm like, I remember, well, the Bubsy I remember playing when I was a kid, and Gex I only played the first one. I'm like, yeah, I want those. I want those in my hand. I don't know, it just kind of brings back like a little bit more of a nostalgia for me, and it's just, growing up, like a lot of kids from the 90s or 80s always had like physical copies of their games, and I just think like for us that'll never go away.
No, it's good. That's some good points, and for your sake, I'm hoping that they do another new Spyro game. Although
I know.
we'll just have to see. As you know, it's looking like June is going to be an exciting month for other games that might be coming. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are some additional surprises from Microsoft and all their subsidiaries. Hardicus, though. What are your thoughts about this kind of being the end of physical gaming with where we're at, what I mentioned with the Microsoft games coming to the PS5 and the Switch 2 stuff? What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, I've got many thoughts on that. For most of this group, you're old enough to remember back in the day before they had digital media, and they told us, oh, it's going to be cheaper if you just download it. The physical copy is going to be more expensive. Well, as we can see, that's never happened. As far as digital is concerned, though, I have lived in a rural area for a good portion of my life. So that means I've had just the shittiest internet in the world. At one point, my highest speed was 1.5 megabytes. So downloading things, especially if they're mandatory, is a nightmare for people with speeds like that. The always-on BS is just it is what it. I just said it's BS. Like, the internet goes down and you still want to play your game and you can't. The fact that games nowadays you're just selling a license, well, as we've seen with PlayStation, and I haven't really looked into Nintendo or Microsoft, but like they lost the license to have certain things on the PlayStation, so they took them off without even telling people. So it's just such a shitty system that they can, first of all, do that. And with internet the way it is in this country, it's like I remember when I bought Cyberpunk, I went to my local library and sat there for like 10 hours in the parking lot downloading it on my laptop. So, like, I don't know. I as far as all these companies think they're being innovative or whatever, trying to save costs, it's you're alienating some of the people that are your fans that are going to buy this stuff. Like, I have zero intention of buying a Switch 2, mainly because of some of the crap that they pulled. And this is my personal opinion. I don't know if anyone. I'm pretty sure Simbu agrees with me on here, but it is perfectly okay to pirate Nintendo games, especially because they're such dickbags. I think that was all I had for it, but yeah.
Yeah, that 10 hours is ridiculous, but again, indicative of just how terrible the internet infrastructure is for this country. And yeah, I'm not going to go on that soapbox, but I will go on the soapbox of just the idea that you need to have the internet to play stuff, DRM, like, especially games that you pay for. But like you said, you're paying for a license. I'm glad that California passed a law requiring Steam to say, oh, you're not actually buying the game, you're just buying a license. And as Ubisoft themselves, they're trying to take to court their game. I think it was The Grid. It's their racing game that, because of cars and everything, cars have licenses, and those licenses end. So Ubisoft wants to end support for The Grid. The problem is the EULA that companies like Nintendo like to take advantage of says that support for their purchases don't end until 2099. So it's sounding like Ubisoft may be on the hook for continued support, and it's good when forward-thinking countries and economies like the European Union and California think for the individual to protect the individual, and you get stuff that the warnings that say you're not buying the game, you're buying a license, and you're not even really buying that, or just the European Union stuff with my part of the soapbox on that is the fact that my stupid freaking iPhone wouldn't have a USB-C port if it wasn't for the European Union making it mandatory for phones and whatnot to have consistent chargers. That's Apple with their douchery, but that's where you get those sort of protections and everything, and protecting the consumer that really helps with that.
The way I see it, if you're not buying the game, you're just buying a license, then pirating isn't stealing it.
So I just you won't get me making an official statement on pirating.
Oh no, that was just my opinion. That is not shared by the InfernoCast. Although I could see one person pointing clearly to a pirate flag.
Yeah, I have to tell Jamie Owls not to do that. Jamie Owls.
He's a rebel.
Sorry.
No, if the companies could do a better job of allowing and being more friendlier to their consumers, then you wouldn't have that as a potential, market. And if there's what's the old saying? The oldest profession. The oldest profession wouldn't be the oldest profession if there wasn't a market for it. And in this instance, anti-consumer behavior creates this sort of market. I think that's gonna be my statement. I'm gonna go with that statement. But I do want to say a quick shout out to my buddy the Mad Belmont joining in. He's playing Mega Man 8 and Doom: The Dark Ages. I feel sorry for you, Mad, for experiencing Mega Man 8. That is my absolute least favorite Mega Man. I cannot stand the voices. I don't like the aesthetics. The platforming feels weak. I could keep going on. The better game is Rockman and Forte for the Super Nintendo, if you can find a translated shmemulation copy of that. But that's me. Get through Mega Man 8. That way you can say you beat Mega Man 8, then don't play Mega Man 8 again. Once you're done with that, then... Ugh. But Doom: The Dark Ages, enjoy that. Take your time. I heard that's great for Doom heads like myself and Simbu. Definitely looking forward to picking that up on sale and digitally, because I'm not going to buy a useless Frisbee physical disc if it's not going to be, again, fully on said disc. I mean, come on, Xbox. I know the Xbox does take Blu-rays, but it's only single-layer Blu-rays. Come on, the PS5 can do dual layer Blu-rays that are, what are they, 100 gigabytes, 120 gigabytes? Again, that's me getting back on a soapbox that I'm going to take away.
On Game Pass.
Yes, and it's also on Game Pass. So if you got that, then you're shading the maid. But we got a black flag here on a video, and we had some spiciness with Hardicus's. I open Simbu your viewpoints on your thoughts of the Switch 2 stuff. Do you think this is the end of physical gaming? How much do you really care? And your thoughts on your collecting of physical games. Unload, please.
Well, let's just start out. I mean, I guess I'll come out hot. I'll come out swinging. You say 4 to 8 years, Fox. I'm going to tell you, I'm putting it at 2. Physical media done 2 years after the Switch 2 comes out. Why? Because how many true Nintendo fans and fanboys and fangirls and fan whatevers are going to keep up, are going to continue with it? What, again, you guys buy, again, the reason we buy physical media, because for what reason? It may be a flawed version of the game, but I can put this in my PS5 and play the damn thing. It may be flawed. It may not have all the updates that were post launch, but I can still play it. The biggest issue is now my digital copy of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Guess what? If they delist it from the store and it's not downloaded on my system, all gone. And that goes the same for Jedi Survivor. If it gets delisted, I can put the game in the damn system, but it's only a license checker. What's it going to do? Check that I can view the page that is unsupported, like Friday the 13th game? What's the point? So, like I said, you're going to go 4 to 8 years, depending on the Switch 2's life cycle. I'm going to say, sure, it may last 4 to 8 years where you're going to have the stupid little, crappy rectangles coming out in the store. But I give it probably 2 years before physical collectors just say, fuck it. Who cares? Done. Because there's no point. There is no point to buying those cartridges whatsoever.
Yeah, and you make a good point regarding the you plug the disc in. Now, Friday the 13th is a multiplayer game that requires servers to host and other players to play. And so you could have people say, oh, well, the game itself, as long as it's on the Sony server, you plug it in, as long as the Sony server. The problem with that is what I just mentioned with like the 3DS shop and the Wii U shop going down. Yes, even games, I want to say games on the Wii U or the Wii shop let you re-download them, but like even that ends, and that will end. And and I say that, and I actually think the Wii shop re-downloading is gone. Even that is gone. So what's stopping Sony from doing their PS5 shop in maybe even a decade or two? But Fox, the PS3 shop is still up. You could log on to the network on the. That was only because so many people like us complained to Sony about this. And they said, don't shut down our PS3 and PSP shops because we still want to use them and access them. That was going to happen. What was that, like a year or two ago? And we complained and we bitched about it. And they kept them up. And they're still up to this day. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Sony tries that again and then they just flip the switch, don't tell us that it's happening, and people move on. But and maybe that has to do with us being old dogs, because a lot of gamers nowadays aren't really worried about like the physical stuff, especially the young guns, the young broccoli heads, and the Gen Zers where they got the broccoli head, and they just everything with that, and then the Gen Alphas with the iPads that they're coughing on. They're not worried about collecting the physical stuff as long as their games are on the iPad. Their stuff's on the mobile phone, and their console. They can download the next version of FIFA, Call of Duty, or whatever cash grab it is, and that's a good majority of them. It just makes me wonder how much of this evergreen content that we grew up with is going to continue to be that way. Does that make sense, Simbu?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, it's going to phase out, and you said you even said it yourself, Fox, that it's going to be with the Switch 2 era, where physical dies. You're being highly generous, and you're being your Nintendo fanboyism is showing with the hopeful that the physical will last through the Switch 2 era.
Oh no! I didn't say that. I'm saying that the Switch 2 itself will be 4 to 8 years. I actually didn't say anything about the physical media, but like I just think the Switch 2 will be 4 to 8 years. I wouldn't be surprised if their next thing, the Switch 3 or the Switch 2 Pro, is in 4 years, honestly. But sorry, I digress.
Well, that was a misunderstanding on my part. because you were talking about the cartridges and the key cards and all that, and I figured that was you were I assumed you were talking 4 to 8 years for the removal of all of that as well.
Ugh, key cards.
But we're going to look at it like this, and I'm going to look at it. Everyone's going to enjoy their Switch 2s. You're going to have fun with Mario Kart World. Maybe in 4 to 6 years, I'll get a Switch 2, and maybe I'll finally play Mario Kart World. I don't have an interest in the Switch 2. I mean, I'm not the kind of person that the Switch 2 benefits. So, like, for example, with Fox and Jamie Owls, if Fox is on the PS5, Jamie Owls can play on her Switch. If Jamie Owls is playing on the PS5, Fox can play on his Switch. Okay? Storm and her husband, same kind of concept there. Hardkiss is pretty much a little bit more like me. Like, the Switch 2, yeah, would be kind of fun to play some of the games, but is it worth us shelling out that kind of money when the style of gaming the Switch 2 can provide? I can do the same thing from my chair here, and I'll flip my camera around if it'll let me. Cuckoo-ca-choo. I can sit in my gaming chair. I can play my game on my TV in my bedroom. Hardicus can do it on his computer monitor or whatever he uses. We don't have to worry about that. We don't really go places where we're going to have downtime for that amount to make a Switch console or Switch 2 console viable for us to purchase, when we could just spend that money on a PS5 or the one that comes out, the PS6.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to mention that the game library is far, far worse than PlayStation.
And if the first party outing for Nintendo, if that's not enough to grab you, I mean, if you're not worried about the first party Nintendo library or the portability, not even that. Like, if you're not worried about the first party Nintendo library, then that's it. That's it. Game
My
over.
reasoning behind getting a Switch 1 was Triangle Strategy and Metroid Dread. Those were pretty much the only two titles I really, really wanted for the Switch. And I did not think Triangle Strategy would come to PC, but it is. So, other than Metroid Dread, like, I have a couple of games for it, but it's mainly to play with other people.
Yeah, and like the portability thing, that's where Steam Deck, ROG Ally, and whatnot come in. I mean, that's full stop. That's it. Game over. Well, I guess not game over. Quick shout out and hey to Rad Bash Gaming for jumping in on the live cast. Always good to see you. Hardicus, I interrupted you, I think.
Oh, it's all good. One of my other complaints about the Switch is, like Simbu was saying, in 4 to 6 years he might buy a Switch 2. And if he wants Mario Kart Racing or whatever it's called, it's still going to be $90 when he buys it in 6 years.
80. No,
whatever.
No,
you know what I'm
saying.
You know what?
You might be
80,
right.
80
Tariffs.
or $90.
Tariffs might drive it up to 90.
Well, that, and let's face it, Nintendo games. I mean, I can count on one hand how many times Nintendo's go on sale, and it's half off at the very best. Nope. I just picked up Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous for $3 the other day on PC.
Not half off, third off at best.
Well, that's what
third.
So it's
I was gonna say you go to like Whoop the Whoop website or whatever, and you see like PlayStation and Xbox, 50% off, 60% off, 70% off for a physical copy from Amazon. Nintendo, you can save $10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why also F Nintendo. I mean, what is it, Tears of the Kingdom or whatever the Zelda games is? And this is coming from someone who loved Link to the Past, but like the new Zelda game, it's been out for a decade. The not the Tears of the Kingdom, the first one. I can't remember.
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
It's been out for what, a decade? Still $60.
Nope. $70. Now with the Switch 2, it's $70.
So in a decade, it has gone up in price, not down in price, like
And-
most of the other systems.
And the Switch 2 version does not include the DLC. So that's another 20.
That's why I just after
So 90.
If you want everything. I mean, yes, if you have the NSO, the Switch 2 upgrade is free. If the DLC is free. I'm doing the Matt Foley quoting where it's free. But yeah, the only issue, well, one issue now, one thought, one thing, one problem. I want to know, and just general thoughts from Storm, because Storm, I haven't bugged you yet about this. What are your thoughts and thinking and about everything that we talked about? Do you think it's the end of physical gaming? How much do you care? Are you interested in collecting physical games?
I'll start by saying that I'm used to it with the music. A music collection, having bought stuff with Apple and then having it disappear if you're not part of their Apple Music thing was a real big thing that pissed me off just about a year ago. And so, like, even though you bought it, you couldn't access it anymore unless you subscribed to their bullcrap, which is just ridiculous in of itself. But trying to get physical CDs, especially when you are a fan of bands that are over in Europe, they're really expensive, and getting shipping here is just stupidly outrageous. So, I'm used to the physical media already disappearing. Do I care? Honestly, not really. I care for you guys that want to collect them, but the technology is going the way that it's going, so whatever. I can complain about it and bitch about it, but it's not going to do a damn thing. Yes, it sucks that it's only a license checker if you're going to buy the, oh my god, Nintendo has an $80 game when there are other $80 games out there, but I digress. We spent our last podcast talking all about it, so I don't want to go over that all again. It doesn't matter. Yes, you should own it, but I'm not crying over it. It'll just go the way the industry is going. Does it suck for people who do have massive collections and want to collect? Yes, it does. It shouldn't be that way, but it's becoming that way until they change the technology of the discs or whatever that can handle all of the information that they need to put on them. Maybe there's the limit of what they can store on the little cards or on CDs or whatnot. So if they're running into that, we're just heading towards an age that's going to be the new norm. Unfortunately, our infrastructure here sucks. I mean, there were parts of here in Colorado where you can't get high-speed internet, and I feel for everyone that can't get high-speed internet and has to rely on internet to download it. Again, those games shouldn't be like that, but it is going to be like that. So there are some games I'm going to make sure I get a physical copy of because I only have them digitally right now, like the God of War. I love them. I need to buy them eventually so I have the physical copies just because I love them. That's where I'm at with those. If I can get the physical cheaper than the digital, I'll get a physical cheaper than the digital. If it's cheaper to get it digitally, I'll get it digitally. Some I don't care to have physical copies of because again, I'm not a big collector of the games. I'd rather just play them than anything else. So yeah, I'm just going the way that the industry is going because I've already felt it with the music. Not surprised that video game is going that way, and it sucks, but it is what it is. And again, digital, where we may see a big spike in digital gaming, especially here in the US, is because we will be getting those wonderful tariffs that are coming in, and prices will probably be cheaper in physical, or not physical, on digital downloads than trying to get a physical copy of anything. So just, yeah, that's where I'm at.
No, those are definitely really good points. Especially the fact that if that's the direction that we're going, I mean, you called it because that was the music industry, and I feel like the music industry itself became a hell of a lot more homogenized because of it becoming a sort of digital presence, and it makes me wonder if that's how it's going to be with the video games, because that was the music industry in the late 90s, early aughts, where everything, the emphasis on actual CDs had gone away. I mean, Napster, for those who know that really
Napster
was.
ban.
Yeah, and that really led to the beginning of the end, and I feel like that's a big reason. That was the start of the homogenization of the music industry. And then you got the movie industry, where the death knell on that was COVID. I mean, really, that was one of the nearest beginnings of the end, where people are like, okay, do I want to sit in a theater where there's a bunch of broccoli heads screaming chicken jockey and throwing their fucking popcorn everywhere, or do I want to sit in my nice, comfortable house with my $500 42-inch flat screen? I mean, it was a 21-inch TV was $500 30 years ago. That's part of the reason. Everything is just certain. We're being funneled into these singular experiences, and video games is in that direction. And it just goes to the fact that it's all dollar votes. Yeah, we're being funneled in that way. But if you don't want to be a part of that ecosystem, don't do it. You don't want to buy the Switch 2 because of their decisions. Do not buy it. If you want to, if you've got your collection and you've got your physical game that like Simbu does, and he's cuddling it and giving it that sort of earnest love. If you want to do that and play your existing game collections, play that. I mean, like I said in my videos, I'm old. I've got my collection here and another shelf that's off camera, that if need be, if that EMP hit and all the internet is down, then shoot, that's it. I'd be done, and I would be okay with my physical collection. Of course, if that EMP hit, maybe the riots would happen, and I'd get looted pretty bad, which is a possibility. But you never know. I don't know how those Borderlands, Death Stranding type worlds go. I mean, Simbu, what do you think? You think I'm getting looted, or am I safe?
Well, it depends on how many games of yours you have that I want. That's the question.
That's true too.
But I do want to retort, make one quick retort, and I am specifically holding this game for those of you who are watching. It is Horizon Forbidden West. The reason I'm holding this game specifically is the spatial issue of the discs has already been solved. It was solved many, many moons ago. For those of you who played Final Fantasy or the original Resident Evil, multiple discs. We have a disc in Horizon Forbidden West called the data disc. This gets put in first. It downloads the bulk of the game.
Not download. It copies the contents of the disc onto the hard drive. So now no download is needed.
Correct. And then this is the play disc. This is to play the game. Now, another thing that Sony did, and let me go grab one more game. Forgive me for getting up and back and forth, but this is some of the coolest things you will ever see. A lot of you wouldn't know this. Let me show you this game right here. The 2018 God of War. Now, at the time, I did not have home internet. The coolest thing about this stupid little disc right here which something Xbox failed to figure out, was if your system was out of date because you were an offline gamer. Let's go with Hardicus over there, where he's an online gamer, but he has terrible internet. If your system was not updated, Sony was able to code the system update onto the disc. Therefore, it copied and upgraded your system to the current thing, the current format, to be able to play the game before it started copying the game. So we have seen over many, many, many years the physical workarounds for disk information limitations.
And I'll remind the audience that the Xbox 360 had multiple DVD discs for games like Final Fantasy 13 and Lost Odyssey, so it's not like Microsoft couldn't do that if they didn't want to.
100% correct. But this is where that your last little snippet there, Fox, if they wanted to.
Yep.
And they won't, for one fact. Now, you guys are talking about the tariffs and all this other wah wah woola weela wah and all this other bojazz. Now, here's my thing though. Let me grab something a little more recent. Something that has not been on sale yet. Let me show you Split Fiction. Physical copy. In store. $50. PlayStation Store. $50. Xbox Marketplace. $50. Nintendo eShop. $50. So it's the same exact game, same exact price, no matter what way you get it. So it doesn't matter at this point, honestly, because I feel, in all honest to God truth, that when the tariffs get enacted, and let's say it start affecting physical media, we're already so conditioned into paying, whether we're buying it on disc or whether we're buying it on a digital storefront, the same exact price. Who's not to say that Sony won't raise the price of Split Fiction to match the tariff price on a physical copy?
And what the reason, the excuse that they're going to use, and I know how this works, they're going to say it's to subsidize the cost. To subsidize the cost, the fact that these are manufactured in China, as 47 says, even though it's been lowered to 30% or 80% or whatever bridge in Arizona that he's trying to sell the American public, it doesn't matter because the price is going to increase, and the companies can say, "Oh well, we're subsidizing the cost by increasing everything a little bit," but the reality is that they could just the tariffs and everything is the further funnel to digital. And I guarantee when we're 100% digital, the games, like Simbu was saying, is still going to be $50. And again, $50 for Split Fiction, $50 for Claire Obscure Expedition 33, $40 for Metroid Prime Remaster. These are steals considering most, if not all, games are now going to be at $70 or $80. I'm gonna wrap up our conversation here so we keep it at a lean 1 hour mark, because I want to make sure that we've got enough time so that my normal thing that I like to do is to play online gaming with Storm and her husband, aka my brother, not my older brother, the one who deleted my Final Fantasy VI file save that I had 99 hours and 59 minutes. No, my oldest brother, the nice one who still likes to play games with me and Storm. We have a normal tradition to play games every day around 8 Central. So wrapping it up, tariffs are bad, expensive games are bad, the end of the physical physical editions of games is bad, but I feel like we have it is what it is, with the silver lining that you can choose what you want to buy with your dollar votes. Apparently Rad Bash, and again, that's Rad Bash Gaming here on YouTube. Make sure to check his content as well as the Mad Belmont on YouTube as well. Great bunch of guys to work with that have done collabs, and they've been on the InfernoCast here. Apparently, Rad especially is proud of me for swearing, so there you go. That's always fun. Parting shots. Jamie Owls, parting shots.
I want more money. That's all I have.
I'm right there with you. I want more money. So you can buy more books. I can buy more games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Both. Games and books.
Yeah.
Money would help buy the games that I want. But,
When they say money can't buy happiness, they are full of shit.
Absolutely.
Hardicus, parting shots.
Yeah, I got a parting shot. Where the hell is Jay? I want an answer to my question from the last episode I was on.
I was waiting for you to say, yeah, I got a parting shot across your face.
That'll be next week.
Hopefully.
Up your nose with a rubber hose.
Chicken jockey! Only heard that twice today, so
Is Chicken Jockey your parting shot, Storm?
Yes, chicken jockey. Or I've heard the chicken lava song with Steve enough as well. So yeah.
Simbu, parting shot.
Just remember, the flag never dies.
I seriously have seen the flag. I'm going to say the flag, and calls for the flag to raise so much more since all of the key card discussion has become a whole thing. It's been interesting.
Especially when it comes to Nintendo.
Yikes. Yikes. But alrighty, guys, we will go ahead and call it there. We appreciate y'all checking us out live. A huge shout out to everybody that joined in the chat, as well as those of all you that want to join or check us out as you are listening on your ride home, drive home, work, chores, or whatever freaky other way that you want to do that. So thank you so much for watching, and we hope that you have a great day.